All right, guys, here we are. We're on Zoom. Sammy Boller and Cam Clark from the band Pharaohs joining us, and lots to get to today. First of all, guys, thanks for hooking us up here.
Thanks for having us on, man. It's good to talk to you.
Thanks, man.
Sammy, you're in Royal Oak, Michigan here, and Cam, you're in the Paris of the Midwest. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Down there in Kentucky. So we'll have a band here in just a second. But Sammy, you got a pretty cool history, and I wanted you to tell people who perhaps maybe haven't heard of your history, like what you've done and who have you played with, and kind of give us a background on what and where you've been in this industry.
Well, first of all, I'm a guitar player. I grew up in Detroit, and when I was 19, I met a great band from around here called Citizen Zero. So that was kind of the first real project I was in. And we played around town for a couple of years, and ended up going on the road in 2016. We did a record and we toured for a couple of years, and it was great, man. The band ended up breaking up, kind of like a typical story. But since then, I've been doing instrumental music, and it's been really fun. That's what I've been doing the past couple of years.
Now back up just a little bit, because in 2011 or something, tell me the Joe Satriani story.
I was in college, man, and I ended up I entered this Guitar Center contest. It was like a Satriani like cover contest, basically. And he like picked a few winners, and I got to, basically it was like a master class. I got to meet him and get to watch him play up close, and it was in LA, which was cool. I'd never been to California before, so getting to go out there for the first time was cool. I was a pretty young kid at the time, so it was awesome, man. He's one of my heroes, so anytime you get to meet your heroes, it's cool.
Yeah, Joe is such a great guy too. I've had a chance to interview him a few times, and it's like, so have you kept in touch with him, or was it kind of like a one and done type thing, or have your past?
Pretty much a one and done type thing. I saw him play maybe like a year later, and I got to talk to him for a few minutes after the show. But he's a wonderful guy, man. Just not only an incredible guitarist, but just a super sweet, encouraging guy. So it's cool. That's why we got to interview him.
Yeah, no, he's awesome to talk to. We were just talking, Cam, before we got on the air here that some of the great guitar players that we both know and stuff. So Cam, give us a little background on your story and how you came to meet Sammy and start this band Pharaohs.
Well, yeah, it was kind of random, but I'd been in several previous bands, but my last band we had recorded up in Detroit a couple of years ago, and since then, we've all kind of left our respective bands. And,
now, what band was that, and where did you record at here?
We recorded at Rust Belt.
Okay.
And that band was called C2 and the Brothers Reed, and it was kind of like old school rock and roll, I guess. And I met Steve, the bassist there. And I think Sammy and Johnny were running around, but we were kind of busy that week, so I didn't get a chance to meet them. But and then during the pandemic, we just gave it a shot.
All right, so this is another one of those projects that started through the pandemic. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what have you guys been doing throughout the pandemic? Were you guys like working on Zoom, or were you guys in the same room, or how does that work?
We met like Cam mentioned, like it was kind of random, but Meltdown, do you know Al Sutton? He owns Rust Belt Studios.
Yeah, of course.
Our bass player Steve and I, we work out of there, and we were just all hanging one night, and Al was kind of like giving me shit. We were hanging out drinking, listening to music. He's like, Sammy, you got to start a new band, man. Like, he's kind of like laying into me a little, and it's like 2 a.m, and he goes, I was kind of making excuses, like, I'd love to play in a band, but it's so hard to find a great singer, man. It's impossible, It's like, that's always the hardest thing for when you're starting out a band. And Al kind of goes, dude, who can we get? He's like going through all these people. He goes, and I think Steve, our bass player, was the first one to go, well, we should call Cam, Cam Clark in Kentucky. And Al was just like, as soon as he said Cam, Al's like, that's it. I'm calling him right now. And I'm like, dude, it's like 2 a.m. I was like, dude, it's like 2 a.m. Don't do that. He goes, I'm doing it. So I don't know. Cam, he like hit you up the next day, right? Like he actually ended up. Yeah.
Yeah, he slid in my DMs actually.
Yeah, he sent you a message on Instagram.
On Instagram, yeah.
Yeah, Al's a great guy. He was you were saying you were working out of there. So were you there when Alice Cooper was recording?
I was not there for that, but our bass player engineered that album.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did that whole thing with. There's some amazing musicians on that, like Wayne Kramer, and yeah, it's super cool. It was around. It was kind of a. I guess that session was the Alice Cooper thing was maybe a few months before we all met, but yeah, it's cool. The studio's been really busy, man. It's been awesome.
So one of my, it's weird that I'm talking to you guys because one of my friends just the other day, he's like, hey, August 7th at the Crowfoot, you want to go see Pharaohs with me? And at the time, I'm like, I'm not really sure what you're talking about here. And then, through serendipity, I guess we're talking to you right now. So you guys did this, correct me if I'm wrong, this live stream back in January. Is that right? Where was that at?
That was at Rust Belt.
Oh, that was at Rust Belt. Okay.
Yeah, that was in the studio. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, talk about that experience, Cam, because it's like, it seems kind of weird, like these days here in COVID and stuff, guys are just jamming in rooms and broadcasting them out to places. But of course, now concerts are starting. So, but how was it doing that?
It was, I mean, it's always a little strange, doing a live show and with no audience, you're still performing, but just to cameras, it's a little strange, but it seemed to work just fine, and that was the same room that we wrote all of the songs, so it just, I don't know, it just kind of, it was natural.
Yeah. Sammy, how'd you feel doing that?
It was great, man. I definitely miss playing live. Like now that we've got a couple shows booked, yeah, it's exciting. It's been a long year, man, not being able to play shows, and I don't know. It was kind of just weird being home during the summertime. Like I haven't been home in the summer in so long. But yeah, it's gonna be great. I mean, I cannot wait for. We're playing a show, and we have 2 shows booked right now. We're playing in Nashville in a couple weeks, and then we're doing Detroit on August 7th. So yeah, if you want to come, just let me know, man. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great. So October 15th, also, Sam, you're doing a solo show at the Crowfoot.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, I've been doing instrumental music the past couple of years, so I'm going on the road in October. My instrumental record came out like right at the beginning of COVID, so I haven't been able to tour it. So yeah, that's like the first show. I'm announcing like some dates coming up here. I'm going out with just my instrumental band.
So the instrumental thing, are you gonna wear like a Kentucky Fried Chicken bucket on your head like that one guy does?
Hey, that's a good idea, man. I didn't think of that. No, I need something like that, honestly, but I don't know. I don't think I can pull it off.
No. I was talking to Scott Stapp. Now, Sammy, don't you play with him sometimes?
I do. Yeah, I was just with him last week in Nashville. We were talking about Nashville before we jumped on here. Yeah, he lives in Nashville, so I was down there with him last week. So he's a great guy, man. He's been really supportive, and he loves Cam. I was showing him some of the I showed him the live stream and some of the stuff, and he's a huge fan of Cameron. Now,
before we get back into Pharaohs, the first time I ever interviewed Creed, I was standing outside of the venue there, outside the Crowfoot, which wasn't called the Crowfoot. I can't remember what it was called at the time, on the sidewalk. And like my own prison was just about to start to break. So I was interviewing all 4 of the guys from Creed. And of course, Scott has gone through its ups and downs. But as I was riding my bicycle today and thinking about this interview, you just kind of mentioned that Scott's such a great guy. But tell people how Scott is, because I've always found him to be super nice.
Oh, Scott's great, man. Yeah. He's like, I mean, I've never been around anybody that's like just I mean, he's a prolific songwriter. Some of those songs, like you mentioned, My Own Prison, and some of those Creed songs, like those are some of the, those are just going to be around forever, and he's a great guy, man. I met him because my old band, we were opening up for him for a couple weeks, like I don't even know, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. And he was, even when we were on the road, man, he was like so cool. And it's not always like that. Like when you're in an opening band, sometimes the headliners, they won't even talk to you the whole tour, But yeah, we just kind of met through that and kind of kept in touch. And I just fill in with him, man. His guitar player lives in Greece, so they can't, to play like one-off shows, you can't fly somebody from Greece. It's nuts. So I jump in and we jam. But he's great, man. The guys in his band are really nice too.
No, dude, he raved about you when we talked about you, and he brought it up, and it was really cool. Were you on the show when he played here in Detroit a couple years ago with Weapons of a New opening up?
No, I've never gone on the road with him,
Okay.
but I think I was at where was that? That was at St. Andrews.
Yeah.
I went. I was there. I wasn't playing though.
Yeah. No, Scott is cool. So, Cam, tell us about the band Pharaohs, and like, if for someone that's never heard the music. So, I'm listening to it, and I'm like, it sounds like something I can't quite put my finger on it. Has anyone described your music or compared it to anything? And for someone that hasn't heard it, what do you think it sounds like to you?
I've actually heard a lot of people say that it sounds like something, but I don't know what. I think it I don't know. We're all kind of inspired by a lot of the same kind of music, but then we all kind of have the differences are what make it cool and kind of unique. But I mean, it kind of fits into the same vein as like, I'd call it like alternative. There's still like heavy moments, but it can appeal to a lot more wider audience, I guess.
Yeah, Sammy,
Which
what
is
do you
cool.
think?
No, I think Cam nailed it. It's I'd say it's like alternative rock or heavy alternative rock. It's so funny, man. It's like when we were first initially like texting or whatever, like, hey, you should come up, let's jam. You never know what it's gonna be like until you actually get in a room and play together. It's like you can talk about it forever. And John, our drummer, Steve and I have played together since we were like since John and I were teenagers. We played together a long time, but yeah, it's like you can talk about it, but as soon as you start jamming and feeling each other out, it was just really cool. Like, it's just been such an easy, natural thing. Just writing all the music and jamming and recording. So yeah, I think we have like a really cool combination of all of our different influences. Like, we love a lot of the same stuff, but we also love different things as well.
Now, John was in Citizen Zero with you too, as well, right?
Correct. Yeah, he was a drummer in Citizen Zero.
Yeah, I was listening to the song, and it's kind of cool because I'm into like this. Well, right now it's like with the Greta's and the Dirty Honeys and the Rival Sons, all that. I really like the 4-piece like real rock bands. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah,
that's where I place you guys in there with the real rock bands. They're real musicians, and it's like I like to hear the bass and the guitar and the drums and the singer and all of it that comes together on stage, and you can pull it off on stage, because some of the stuff that's a little bit more produced, to me, seems a little bit phony, but that's just to me.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that statement.
Yeah, thanks, man. That's really nice, man. Yeah, I think yeah, that's one thing we definitely, we're a fan of all the classic bands, like the 4-piece rock and roll, So that's definitely what we definitely wanted to be a band that's really raw and can slam it out live.
Now, do you guys have any other you got these concert dates here, but are you guys talking with hopping on any tours with anybody in the future?
We're working on it. Yeah, we haven't put any music out yet. So once you kind of have to have a record out or something out before you go on the road. So we're kind of just taking it one step at a time,
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. So when's that going to come about?
We're still working on it. We can't talk about it yet. So I'd love to tell you, but it's coming. I promise, music's coming. We're hoping by the end of the year we'll have something out.
This might be a crazy question. When you come out with any music by the end of the year, will there be any special guests on it or anything like that, or is it just Pharaohs?
Cam, what do you think? You want to have a guest singer on there?
Bring them up.
bring them up.
So no, okay, all right, perfect. So how do you come up with the name Pharaohs?
Oh God, Cam, you want to answer that?
Well, I think you came up. I think you ended up with that with Pharaohs, right? Didn't you come up with that name? Well, I don't remember.
I don't remember. We had days before we were doing that live stream. We named the band like 2 days before we did the live stream, man. Like we were a band for a few months, but we didn't have a name. But that is like the hardest thing when you're in a band. Coming up, that's like, it's harder than writing a record sometimes, like trying to get the right name. But I always remember we were going back and forth on the group chat for days, like, how about this? And as soon as we'd get one where it's like, oh, that's pretty cool, so one guy would be like, one of us would just go, no way, that's it's so lame. But I think we came up with Pharaohs our drummer John, his girlfriend is a musician as well, Kat, and she was in the studio. We were working on some of her music, and we were listening back to the track, and she was doing like the Cleopatra dance, like the. And I was like, man, I wish we could call the band Cleopatra or or something like a Sphinx or whatever. And I think I said Pharaoh, and we all kind of looked at each other. And John goes, "No, man, Pharaohs." And I was like, "That's it,
Yeah.
that's it." So Cam was like, "Done, we're done." Yeah, so that was it. That's how we came up with it. So yeah, it's pretty funny.
I never got to name a band, I don't think, but I guess that could be a problem. You want something that's easy enough for people to remember and kind of understand, I suppose, right?
Yeah, and could be unique in itself, or I don't know.
Hey, Cam, by the way, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Kentucky.
Okay, so what do you think coming to Detroit? I mean, was that your first time in Detroit when you were recording with your other band?
Yeah, I think it was. I think we had toured around Michigan a little bit, but never made it to Detroit. But I like it. I mean, Royal Oak isn't much different than where I'm from. Detroit is definitely different, but like where we're hanging out is I mean, it's still got that like small big town vibe, which is like Lexington. It's like it's small enough to feel comfortable, but like big enough that there's tons of stuff to do.
Right, exactly.
So I like that vibe.
Yeah, it's like Sammy, you know how it is right here in Detroit. It's like there's a little bit, I guess, of a what's the word I'm looking for? Like you're in Detroit, well, you're a Detroiter, and there's a little bit something added that I think you probably feel on your back that you're like, I have to represent, so it's got to be good no matter what I do, right?
Yeah, for whenever you tell anybody when you're traveling around that you're from Detroit, especially if you're a musician, there's always like a lot of pretense or whatever, like just because of the history, not between Motown and all the great rock bands, but I love being a musician from Detroit, man. Like it was such a good place to grow up and learn how to play, for sure.
Yeah, I was watching the Dead Daisies last night at the Token down here, and Glenn Hughes, the singer. Are you familiar with Glenn Hughes?
He's great, yeah.
Yeah, he is awesome. And he's like 70 something. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I thought to myself, he's so good at his age, like because he had gone through this whole thing with drugs and alcohol and everything else, but he's kind of sober now and he's so good. And I'm thinking to myself, could you imagine if this guy would have kept going down the drugs and alcohol and been awful? And he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you'd be like, well, what kind of, but he's so good. I guess that's what I'm saying, Sammy. It's like when you come from Detroit, there is a certain aspect because the music history is so rich here and that you want to, represent.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And just guitar players alone, man, between Nugent and for me, I'm a huge Mark Farner fan. Like I was a big Grand Funk guy when I was a kid. So yeah, it's cool, man. I run into Jim McCarty sometimes too. He must live around here. Yeah. Which is pretty cool. He's another just amazing Detroit guitarist.
It's so funny you mentioned Mark Farner. I just met his daughter-in-law yesterday.
At the show or where?
At a speedway in Waterford.
How'd you know it was his daughter? What?
Because I had a Token shirt on, and then she told me who she was. And it's like this whole big weird thing. But then you bring up Mark Farner the next day, and I'm talking to you. It's just kind of a small world vibe,
That is, man.
Hey, Sammy, have you ever auditioned for any national acts?
I've yeah, but I don't know. Sometimes when you do that, they don't love you to talk about it later.
Okay. So
I don't know. Man, I for me, like I'm kind of at the point, like maybe I don't know. That's never been like the total dream for me. Like I love playing with Scott and it's really fun, but for me, it's like I don't know. I love doing my own music, like I'm kind of at the point where I still love, like playing my own stuff. So I don't know, maybe someday down the line, but I don't know. There's nothing for me. It's like, I really love, writing songs and going out and jamming and playing with your friends. That's one thing about like with our new band. It's like, we're all just really great friends,
Yeah. You wouldn't want to be a hired gun somewhere, I guess.
Not right now. Jam, what about you, Cam? Have you ever had to do that? Like, or no? Yeah.
No, I've spent a lot of time putting bands together, trying
exactly.
to put bands together.
I know it's so hard.
it can work. It can work, and it cannot work, and yeah. But I've never auditioned for anything.
Well, like I was asking you about that, Sammy, because I know that there are probably guys out there that would look towards your talents and want you in their band.
Oh, thank you so much, man. That's really nice.
But you're not gonna tell us who it is. So. I'm just kidding.
No, I'm playing Fifth Amendment. No,
yeah. I plead the Fifth. That's right. Hey, so wrap it up here. So our time's going to come to an end. But what do we got here? We got a few minutes still. So I mean, you guys got these shows coming up. You're working on your stuff. Anything else you want to tell us about the band that people should know about? I'll let you start, Cam.
Just stay tuned. We'll have a record out soon, and really looking forward to getting back out on the road. It's been a long time, so yeah, come out and see us when we're up at the Crowfoot.
Yeah, August 7th, that's a Saturday. Oh my God, is that weekend going to be jam packed? I know that Guns N' Roses is the next day. You a Slash fan, Sammy?
Oh yeah, huge. Yeah, I'm planning on going to that.
Yeah. Have you seen GNR?
Yeah, I saw him at Little Caesars last time they were here. I'm excited too because Wolfgang Van Halen's opening. I can't wait to see that. I'm a big fan of him. Yeah, we should go to that, Cam. Actually, I didn't realize it was the next. I didn't realize it was the next day though.
Yeah,
we might be in recovery mode, but it's okay.
Yeah, I might make it. August 7th to the Crowfoot for sure. But any last parting words, Sammy? Anything we missed? Anything you want to plug or talk about?
No, I appreciate you having us on, man. This is our first interview as a band, so I'm glad we got to do it together.
Yeah, Cam, I told him you guys saved the worst for the first, so we'll get out of the way. It's all uphill from here. So, well, guys, thanks so much for your time. I'll be hitting you guys up for tickets for the show and stuff, and I can't wait to hear the full complete Pharaohs project in my hand. Of course, it'll be on vinyl, right?
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's got to be on vinyl. All right, Cam and Sammy, thank you guys so much for your time.
Hey, thanks a lot, man.
Cheers, bro. Thanks again.